All right, welcome back to the Law and Crime Network. If it weren't enough that I got Judge William Dawson with me, obviously excellent judge in many regards, up to and including his philosophy of life, which I think is so important when we do what we do. But we have one of our very own here at the Law and Crime Network, another judge, Judge Ashley Willcott, my friend from Georgia. How are you, Judge Ashley?
Thank you, Bob, for having me. I'm so glad to see you both. Fun to be on with you today.
Yeah, it's great to be on with you as well. So, guys, we're going to take a little bit of a turn here. I know you guys are familiar with this Marshae Jones case out of Alabama. Now, this is a case essentially where this Marshae Jones is pregnant and she gets into an altercation with another woman. There's a picture of her right there. And during that altercation, the other woman pulls out a gun and shoots her in the stomach, killing Marshae Jones' baby and seriously wounding Marshae Jones. Well, from what I'm gathering from this, Marshae Jones has now been indicted for manslaughter. And as is typical in most jurisdictions, manslaughter means basically, essentially, not that it was done purposefully or intentionally or willfully, but rather was a reckless act. And that reckless act caused serious bodily injury or death to another person. So, okay, yeah, we have manslaughter cases like, you're driving under the influence and you run over and kill somebody. That would be an example of a good manslaughter case. Here, the argument was that Marshae Jones, whose baby was killed and she was seriously injured, brought this on herself, and that this woman was defending herself. Now, the woman who shot her, she was indicted as well, but that indictment was dismissed by prosecutors. And the breaking news will be at approximately 3 o'clock today, the prosecutor's decision as to whether they're going to go forward with the charges on Marshae Jones. I know it's a little convoluted, so I just want to say it again for our viewers. The person who was shot and whose baby was killed is being charged with manslaughter, indicted for manslaughter, and the prosecutor's going to say, are we going to go forward with that case? Both judges, I'll start with you, Judge Ashley, ladies first. Listen, I had a big discussion with the producers on the Law and Crime Network about this. As a prosecutor, first of all, I find it very difficult that a grand jury would have done something that the prosecutor did not want to do. I've presented thousands of cases before grand juries, but assuming for the sake of argument they played it, as we call it, clean, and they just put all the evidence in, and the grand jury comes back with that indictment against Marshae Jones, I don't believe, as I'm ethically required as a prosecutor, I can prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt to 12 jurors, which would necessitate me dismissing that indictment. I am concerned, Judge Ashley, about torturing out this reckless standard for all sorts of conduct that I don't believe was envisioned by the legislators. And last point, as a prosecutor, and I've had many of these cases, whether the baby's left in the car on a hot day or somebody accidentally backs up and didn't know the child was there, or that happens every summer, the drowning cases that occur because the parents are inattentive. I always felt those people are suffering enough. I'm not charging them and trying to put them in jail. Judge?
Okay, so first of all, I do think the prosecution is likely wanting to proceed with this. I agree with you on that point. Second of all, Bob, let me talk through this just a little bit. I think a grand jury would probably be incensed if they heard the whole story, the whole picture. The whole picture is this woman was 5 months pregnant, so noticeably pregnant. It was not as if she didn't know she was pregnant. She chose to exit a vehicle to confront this other woman, the one who then ended up shooting her, and it was over the father of the child, as I understand it. There was some type of altercation. She put her child at risk, Bob, when she chose to get out of a car, to start an argument, to continue the argument, to refuse to stop following the woman who ended up shooting her when the other woman tried to get in the car and exit the scene. So there are behaviors that certainly I think you could argue are criminal 5 months pregnant when you're doing this. The piece that I think doesn't stick for me is the fact that I do not know she could have foreseen or known that A, this woman would have a gun, that B, she would shoot her, and C, she would kill her child. So that's the piece I think you might also be hung up on as a prosecutor.
Oh, well, Judge, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a fight with Judge Ashley because I in the beginning, I heard you, and then at the end, but that's exactly the point, Judge Dawson, the point that Judge Ashley just brought out, it's going to be tough with all you judges here, is the fact that when you're going through the reasonableness standard of recklessness, it's what could be anticipated that their conduct would cause a certain result. And to Judge Ashley's point, and this is where as a prosecutor I do have a problem, in fact, I think most reasonable people would not presume during an argument over the child's daddy that somebody's going to pull a gun out and shoot you when you're obviously pregnant. I don't think that that's something that's within the realm of normal anticipation. Therefore, as a prosecutor, I don't think it's a charge that can be brought or successfully prosecuted. What do you think?
You know, what's amazing is I actually had this type of case as a defense attorney. It wasn't involving ladies, but it was the Ohio felony murder rule. And basically, my client robbed somebody. He had a co-defendant, or a person he was with. The victim shot my client's co-defendant, the friend, that they went to commit a robbery. And my client was charged with his friend's murder. So it's the same situation, but in Ohio, that was allowed to fly, and it's done normally up here, where if you are involved with the commission of a crime, if somehow you are an aggressor or you are the person committing the crime and a death occurs, then you would be charged under the felony murder law here in Ohio.
Right, but Judge, I see, and that's a good point. Felony murder is, like I've always said, the prosecutor's ace card. I always had the safety net in a murder case that they may not come down for purposeful and knowing murder, but I got an underlying predicate felony and I got a death, and whether you intended it or not, you're going down. In this case, though, Judge, I get nervous, though. Like, what's next? Like, a pregnant woman is belted in a car and she's driving 5 miles over the speed limit and gets into an accident and the baby dies, and now we start prosecuting them for recklessness for going over the speed limit. I just have, with this particular case, a big problem that I don't believe that Marshae Jones could have possibly anticipated. Somebody was going to shoot her. I mean, if even self-preservation were something, she doesn't want to get shot. I don't think they can win this case. I think it's a not guilty, hands down.
Can I play devil's advocate, Bob?
Sure.
Well, we haven't heard all the evidence. Maybe we'll hear more today. I don't know. But let's say theoretically, maybe she sees the gun. Maybe she knows that the woman is armed. Maybe she knows this woman who shot her actually has some kind of criminal history. I don't know any of that, but I think there theoretically could be supporting facts that means it should have been reasonable for her to expect that. I haven't heard that yet, but possibly.
Yeah, no, Judge, and you bring up an excellent point, Judge Ashley. We don't know all of those facts. And let's say, for example, Judge Dawson, to Judge Ashley's point, if she knew the person's got a gun and she continues to argue with the woman and maybe pushes the woman shoots her, now you're starting to get into territory where that could be reckless. And like many cases, it comes to facts. Real short, what do you think?
Judge Ashley is right on point. I mean, if she got out the car knowing the risk, assumed that the lady wouldn't harm her, knew she was armed, and it's often armed, you're right. Now she's assuming the risk and being reckless in her behavior. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, listen, the spirit of conversation, we still need to know more facts, but we will find out in this press conference whether or not the prosecutor is going to go forward and their basis for doing that. Judge William Dawson, it was a pleasure having you on, sir. I know you've got a full docket today. Good luck with your yoga. We'll see you next time. Very good. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Judge Ashley. Stay tuned.